Who wants a pond update video? I'll tell you who does. Jerry from Montana. He will not stop emailing me about this. I'm 100% kidding. Have no idea if Jerry exists. But Jerry, if you do exist, drop us a line in the comments and we'll send you a gallon of pond water. Actually, better yet, why don't you send us a gallon and we'll put a sign out here that says donated by Jerry. We can use all we can get. Let's take a look, shall we? So what do you guys think? I can't remember when I last posted a video on this. It's been several months, I believe. But it's definitely starting to fill up. We had, I think, 4 inches of rain this month so far. And just yesterday we had 1.4. And that cut that I made a while back where the floodplain was, it's still producing water. Well, it's not producing, it's not creating it itself. But it's channeling it nonetheless. As you can see, we got a duck out there walking along what would be the shoreline for the beach. I would say the water line is, I don't know, 30 feet from where it's going to ultimately be in linear feet, not depth, obviously. And working our way down here toward the overflow. Some really good news, actually. Last night, Chris and Nick came over here after dark, but they shot a laser from the overflow out toward our cut to see if the cut is above or below. And obviously we wanted the cut to be above the overflow so that water wouldn't back up in there as the pond gets full. And thankfully, it looks like there goes the duck. I feel like Duck Hunt Mario. Anyone? Got sidetracked. Thankfully though, the cut appears to be above the overflow. Now we don't actually own a laser level ourselves, so we kind of did it makeshift style. Took an old laser pointer and put it on top of the overflow and shimmed it with a level to make sure it was level, and shot the line across to see where the dot hit. But if you guys flip back to some of the other videos that we had posted when I first made that cut, the water was coming in and had to go about 30 or 40 feet out that way before it even reached the body of water itself. So as you can see, this thing is really starting to fill up, and yeah, it's really muddy right now, but we're going to be jumping in here as soon as it warms up a little bit. Also, the tadpole situation is serious. We need to start getting fish in here to eat it, but that would require pond structure, so lots to do. And if you look closely, you can still see the water running in today. Like I said, 1.4 inches of rain yesterday, and it was gushing. And we'll walk back here and take a peek at what that looks like. But now knowing that this cut sits above the overflow, and I think the line, I wish they would have marked it, but I think the dot that they shot across there was somewhere around here. So if you carry that line, I think the bank actually looks higher than what it will ultimately be where the water line is, which is fine. But the plan is going to be to close this back up. I'll probably put a pipe in here, honestly. That way you can mow right across the top of this and not have this giant crater. Let's walk back here. So still a decent amount of standing water. But like I said, nothing like it was back in February. Man, that video still amazes me when I watch it about how much water was standing out here. But the changes we made back here to get this water going into the pond have made all the difference in the world as to keeping this thing full, or on our way to keeping it full. Of course, what would a pond update video be for you guys if I didn't hoof it to the top of the berm and take a peek from there? Pardon me being absolutely winded by the time I get up there. Quarantine has kicked my butt. But back to this topic of rain. I reset my digital rain gauge last fall when we completed the pond, and it varies a little bit from what mine registers versus Chris's and Nick's, just because of the locations a little bit. But roughly we've had almost 30 inches of rain since late September. So, fair amount of water, and has done a fantastic job, honestly, at filling the pond. I never thought it would fill this quickly. There's always a breeze up here, I love it. So there's the messy, mucky area that is gonna be a mosquito nest, I'm sure. But we'll fix that. Probably gonna push a lot of this dirt here, there. And of course I don't have the bulldozer anymore, so all the more fun. And I brought you guys up here because I wanted to show you now that the trees are full. Can't see the pond anymore from up here, which is going to make launching water balloons with a 3-man slingshot into the pond all the more exciting for the people floating around. And now here between the berm and the pond is starting to look like an absolute jungle. So getting the bush hog out is going to be something on the short list here before too long. More specific though to the pond, or the next pond project, is a floating dock. Gonna go floating versus a fix. That way if the water fluctuates up and down, which I'm sure it will, the dock will always be usable and not, 8 feet out of the water. But 16 by 16 with the blue 55-gallon drums as the floats. A number of reasons of why we're using that versus pond floats. And should be really nice once we have it done. But I'm going to document all that and tell you more about that in a separate video, so stay tuned for that. And over there you can see a sneak peek of all the barrels piled up. I was going to tell you guys that was like 1,400 gallons worth of beer. Then we'd have 1,000 people out here and that would not be social distancing. So, but looking here at the pond, you can see how this is really tightened up where it used to be. So not full by any stretch. If I had to put a percentage to it, I would say we're creeping up on 70%. I mean, we'd have to be. And like I said, once this raft's done, or maybe I get a floating raft, I'm gonna go out here and measure the depth. My guess is it's in the neighborhood of 18 feet out there, give or take. So we got plenty of depth, so any of the silting happening doesn't really concern me. So yeah, many more pond projects on the way. Floating dock, pond aeration, pond structure, stocking it with fish, and drinking beer on it. I mean, that one sounds like probably the biggest job of all, but someone's got to do it. So there you go. For some of you guys who've been following along with this as we built this pond last summer to now, almost a year later when we were getting ready to start it, we've had quite the change out here. And if some of you guys are just seeing this now for the first time, I encourage you to flip back and I'll post the link to the playlist of videos we have when we built the pond. If you guys like seeing heavy machinery do some pretty cool work, take a look at that playlist. Decent sized excavator, but I was more impressed with the 9 series tractor we had out here with a 30-ton dump wagon. It was something to be seen, and Chris, Nick, and I had a great old time doing it. I just saw a fish jump a minute ago. Maybe I can see another one. Dang. It's a lunker. Thanks for swinging through the channel, guys. Like I said, the next videos related to the pond are going to be this floating dock, and probably going to get started on that today, so look for those here in the near future. And there you go, Jerry. Pond update. Send us that gallon of water. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Come back and see us. We love hearing from you. Take care.